Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Welcome to all of you who have joined today for our Revizto digital session. We're going to be having a look at the fairly recently released mobile phone app from Revizto, which complements the widely used and loved desktop application. So what are we going to look at today? Have a little look at our agenda. So a brief introduction to myself and some housekeeping. And then I'll hand over to James, who will go through a demonstration of the mobile phone app. And we'll close out with some Q&A session so we can answer any questions that might crop up throughout the webinar. So you'll notice you should all be muted. If you find yourself unmuted for any reason, please put yourself back on mute for the listening pleasure of everyone else on the call today. With regards to questions, obviously, as you are muted, this will be via message. So please pop any questions you have in the chat function. We will endeavour at the end to answer any questions that crop up. If anything is overly complicated or sensitive, then we will follow up after the session and answer any questions. And you may find your questions answered throughout the session, which is absolutely no problem. Please still feel free to post your questions. So a little bit about myself. My name is Levi Brown, for those who don't know me. I've been with Revizto for a couple of months now as a territory sales manager here in the UK. I have over 15 years experience in construction, engineering and surveying, and my background has very much been to do with construction verification, as built to design, validation and Q&A. I'm also a member of the Chartered Institution of Civil Engineering Surveyors. It's a bit of a mouthful. Been a full member for 3 or 4 years now, but they've been involved with them pretty much my entire career because our passions align when it comes to sort of the engineering BIM sort of workspace. So you'll notice in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there is a QR code. By all means, link in with either myself or James. We'd be happy to make connections. And if you think of any other questions that you don't have today, then that would be a great way to get in contact with us as well. And you can see our email addresses as well. I will let James introduce himself. There you go.
Good afternoon, everybody. And again, just from me, thank you for attending this session. I did do this session at Digital Construction Week back in May. I had a very short window to present. I think it was 10 minutes. So it's nice to have a bit of a breather to go over the site app today. So my name's James Lawrence. I am Implement Service Manager for Revizto. I'm just coming up to my 2nd year with the company. I started with an ONC and a HNC in mechanical engineering and just wanted to do something a bit practical. So I learned how to use CAD, and I have over 18 years experience in the construction industry. As I said, started as an apprentice at a water treatment company and kind of made my way through the industry up into BIM management at a tier 1 contractor. As you can see, Arup and Balfour Beatty, everybody has those companies which really kind of help them along the way. And my time at Arup was got me to using Revit and, really fruitful, like great projects out in the Middle East and really kind of got my foot on the ladder of, especially when it came to the early adoption of BIM. And then a bit further on down the line, Balfour Beatty Kilpatrick, where I was hired as a BIM manager to work on aviation projects. And funnily enough, Revizto was the software that I brought into the company to kind of help with the management of the models and the data. I'm also a member of the EMEA technology group. Some people may recognize that as the newer branded of the kind of like branch of BIM groups within the UK. And again, QR code down in the bottom. I'm more than happy to connect, more than happy to answer any messages via LinkedIn as well.
Thank you very much, James. So looking at the registrations we have today, I can see that there is a fair mix of people joining us, both experienced users and those who are new to the Revizto experience. So for those of you who are new, Revizto is the industry's leading collaboration platform. So it's a single source of truth that gives you, your project teams, unrivaled accessibility to 2D drawings, 3D models, non-graphical data and documentation throughout all the stages of design, construction and operation. And the beautiful thing about Revizto is that having this seamless link between the 2D, the 3D and the issues means that you can collaborate in a method that suits you and is intuitive to you as an individual, whilst not compromising on that communication stream of the entire project. And this absolutely benefits everyone. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the demonstration. This is going to focus on the mobile phone app, but by all means, if you would like a demonstration or a deeper dive into the Revizto application, then please don't hesitate to contact us and reach out. So I'll hand over to you now, James.
Thank you very much, Levi. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen and we will dig into the app. So the app, what we want to do is with the Revizto site app is that we want to further expand collaboration within the industry. Everybody uses Revizto on their desktop. Everybody uses Revizto on an iPad as well. But there's always been this bit of a gap out on site when it comes to using different methods of using Revizto. And what I mean by this is that most people have a tablet, and that tends to be limited to BIM managers on a project. Obviously, the cost when it comes to using a tablet, it can be quite expensive, and you're never going to get it put through the cost because it's going to be quite eye-watering for everybody to be walking around with an iPad. When you join a company, everybody has a phone in their pocket. So why not have a Revizto version on the phone? So with the app, all the users can see their project data, including the sheets, the 3D models, and they can track the issues from their phones as well. This is going to enable people to review and collaborate project information from anywhere, anytime, without being tied to a desktop. The app's intuitive user interface and friendly user features make it really, really easy to use on the go and on construction sites. So if you already have a pre-existing Revizto license, you have access to the app. No extra fee. Simply go onto the Apple Store or go onto Google Play, download the site app for your device, log in as normal, and then all you have to do is download your projects and you're good to go. So we're going to go through the site app now. I'm going to pause it like kind of increments and talk you through different kind of features as we go through. So I'm opening my demo project here, and anybody that's been on a call with me before will be very familiar with the demo project. I'm just going to pause it here for the first time because the user interface, as we see, is incredibly the same. So you can see all the information, when it was published, last synced, who the owner is, and a license. And at the bottom, you can also see the cache size. This is a very modest project. 1.3 gigabytes is very modest for a project. You can select what scenes you want to load as well, just here across the top, and you can also download it for field. Now, I live in the UK. I know that a lot of sites within the UK aren't necessarily Wi-Fi, 5G, internet enabled, and sometimes you may be in a bit of a black spot. Certain sites that I've worked on in the past, especially in like the outer kind of counties in Wales and things like that, you're in a complete black spot. So download for field, then you have the working models on your phone. So when you go back into the office, you sync all your data back into the office and you're good to go again. Preferences, very generic preferences as it is on the desktop. Go through general, navigation, how you want to navigate around the phone, display units.
Sorry, James, I can't see your screen.
Oh.
Sorry.
Something is happening with Zoom. Let's try that one more time. Can you see my screen now? Okay. Okay, so for those that didn't hear that at the start, let me just go back to the general preferences. I really do apologize for that. So as you can see across the top, user settings can be applied as per the desktop. So you go through your user preferences as you see on the desktop. Display units, how you want things to look, the graphics. Now, I'm just going to pause on the graphics just for a second because everybody is using different kind of phones. Revizto site is optimized for Apple. Now, I'm an Android user personally, which gives me a lot more flexibility to use partition memory and different graphics. As you can see, you can turn the mapping off as you would normally, the visual effects. When it comes to the quality and performances, you can actually change the memory allocated to 3D. So if your phone is struggling, maybe drop the allocated memory down. If you want it to perform a bit higher, push it to the top, and you can also turn the double-sided materials on for rendering. Camera, again, how do you want your project to look on screen? Change the field of view, change the walker's height and the visibility distance. And smooth teleportation allows you to jump from point to point. The issue tracker pin as well allows you to go through. I also have two-factor authentication applied. The integrations, again, allow you to come through, and on the help shows you all the information that you're looking at. And if you're struggling, click on help. It will take you to the Revizto Help Center within your designated browser. So let's jump into the project. I'm just going to pause it here again as well, because as you can on the desktop application, you can load specific sets of data. As you can see, I have loaded a specific data set because what I'm doing at the moment is I don't want to look at the point cloud or the steel IFCs because they are not relevant to what I'm looking at. So again, that is going to increase the performance of your device by loading the specific models. We just want to look at the pure construction data today. So I'm going to load in the model only preset. It will load those models in and then take me straight to the 3D model to begin with. And there we have it. Here is the project. So to scroll in, I'm pinching in with my two thumbs, and I can also add the grids on to find out where I am within the specific level. I know I'm on the roof, so I can add the grids to look in and around, and I'm just panning around with my thumb. Navigation is by using your thumbs to pinch in, scroll in and out. I can also turn on the issues so I can see what issues are assigned to the level that I'm looking at. To double click allows you to rotate around an object as well. And they'll be going more into these settings as we go through. If I scroll down into this area here, what I'm going to do now is click on the walk mode, and I'm going to drop into the walk mode. And if I long press on the screen, it takes me into effectively a joystick mode. Now it's very, very quick and very, very sharp. As you can see, I'm pushing it forward and I've set the navigation based on my preferences. So I'm just using my thumb now to navigate around the project. And as you can see, I'm starting to pick up areas where I may even want to go in and address and create an issue. The gyroscope allows you to pick up your phone and navigate it around interactively on a 360 gyroscope. It's not augmented reality. I just need to make that clear. It is based on the project that you're looking at. So if you go out on site with the phone, it's not going to link to where you are within the project. So what I'm going to do is now, I'm just going to have a quick look around and we're going to use some basic functionality. As you can see here, I'm looking at these attenuators and I'm going to go to my stamp template as I've set up in the desktop application. All the stamps are available for me to use. And the one that I want to go to is a design stamp because I want to bring up the access and maintenance within this area. And again, I can change the slider settings to be as big as I want. I can change the stamp to be as small as I want. As soon as I've placed it, all the markup tools are available. So again, you can actually mark up the issue out on site by creating a clouded rectangular box. And I'm going to add some text in here and just say that we don't actually have any access to maintain the attenuators. They've been installed or they have been modeled too close together. And again, you can edit all the text. You can edit exactly how you want this markup to look with the text, the background, and the border. I'm going to keep mine quite simple. I want to keep it nice and easy. I'm going to use the out-of-the-box settings. Red, to me, really kind of stands out. So next step will be to show you what the stamp looks like. So I'm going to go through and just change a few items to this because I want to change this to major, and I'm also going to change the date. As you can see, all the metadata comes through automatically, and I can add a few more comments if I see fit. Please model access zones. They have been missed. So now this can be assigned to David Gomez, who is going to go to his team, and they want the access zones modeled, which is going to help with the coordination of the rooftop plant room. I can also pick up a drawing, which is associated with this level as well. by searching in the acronym for the roof, and it now brings up the drawing associated to this area. And as you can see, it shows us where we're looking down, and it shows all the different kind of issues which are available on this drawing as well. The different points are highlighted, and I can click on those issues and go to any issue which is associated with this sheet. Because as you can see down at the bottom, there is an architecture and a structural one as well. So the next step is we're just going to pinch out and zoom around again, just to show you how easy it is to use. And we're going to go down to the lower ground area of the building by pinching and scrolling in, entering the walk command and walking through to the bottom of the escalator. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how easy it is to compare a 3D area with a 2D layout. And as you can see, by searching for the sheet, I can find a lower ground sheet. What this now does is this will allow me to split screen the 2D and the 3D information. So whilst I'm walking through an architectural GA, I can actually see the 3D model as well, and it will always show you where you are as that location. So instead of, as you do on the desktop, by having to go to either a 2D area or a 3D area, you can actually review the items side by side. By clicking on the 2D or the 3D, it will take you to that nominated area of the project. Some of the extra features down at the toolbar at the bottom as well. Again, as per the desktop now, we have the measurement tools. So all the measurement tools that we have on the desktop are now available for us to use. So as you can see, I'm just trying to pinch, drag the distance between this external wall to the outside of the ductwork. I can also do the perpendicular measurements, the minimum distances, the elevations, the angles. So if you're out on site and you want to validate the condensate installation as per the model, you can double check the fall, the ratios, and things like that as well. Next area, I'm going to show you how easy it is to take a cut section through the building. When you go to the section tool, simply double tap, hold an area, hit the scissors, and now you can drag a section through. So now I can actually review the stairwell, review the services going through. And if again, I double click on a surface, it will allow me to take the cut section through on the X or the Y plane. So really easy to review, take a cut section through to the area in which you want to go to. And remember, the home button will always take you back to home. If I long press on an item, I can also review the properties. So I'm just going to pause it here 1 second. And as you can see, we have all the data sets, all the properties available for this item. It's exactly the same it is on the desktop. We want to replicate the experience of what you see on the desktop in the phone app. So if I want to find a specific line of data, a specific type of property, it's available for me to use. So what I can do now is I can drop through each individual one, or if I long hold, I can find the same items. And I can isolate all these pop-out windows and do a review of those on their own if I so require. By just rotating around, as you can see, these are at the top end of the building, levels 10 to 12. And again, this can be for anything: systems, system names, system types. My viewpoints have also come through as well. We have the generic home view, and we also have specific levels. If I go to demo views, I can go to my entrance view. It will take me straight directly to that view as well. I also have one for a 2D system overlay. Now, again, I'm just going to pause this here because I'm somebody who really likes to champion a really good project setup. Anybody who's been on my demo calls before or my training courses will know folder structure and views are incredibly important to getting the best out of a project. One thing that I like to do is create my levels. Another thing that I like to do is create an overlay per service. So as you can see, the benefit shows on the site app by having that as a pre-save view that comes through. So if you're looking at, say, for example, the MEP installation on the roof, I can actually have the 2D drawing overlaid on the view ready for me to go. So when you're out on site, you have those 2D and the 3D information overlaid to begin with. And it really helps the engagement as well. Because also trying to engage with people on site in terms of BIM and 3D information is difficult. I won't lie. It has been difficult and it has been a challenge for me in the past. When you create all these great federated models and all this information, people sometimes have their way of working, and their way of working is the only way they want to do things. So if you can ease people along by creating these views, this preset information for people to use, you will find that the engagement will pick up. Somebody who's struggling to get to a point in time, save it as a view. Somebody who's struggling to find a drawing, save it as an overlay. And you will find that the engagement will just become an organic process. So as you can see now, instead of having to click on the air handling units, I can simply see AHU R2 1 2 3. I also have the duct sizes available as per the drawing. Again, I can load a data set if I so require. So I could have gone into my mechanical plant room, loaded that data set in. Now I'm going to go back to my model only for this because I didn't want to load a data set while we were going through a live project. Otherwise, we're seeing a blue ticker go through. Appearance templates also come through as well. So if I wanted to look at my fire rated walls on the job, I can apply my fire rated walls appearance profile, and I can actually review those against where I am within the project as well. And as you can see, based on the color scheme, blue is 60 minute, green is 90 minute, red is 30 minute. The fire rated doors on the project. Do I want to go through and check the fire rated doors? By simply clicking on the appearance profile, I can go in to this point in time in the project, wherever I am, and review the fire doors. Structure tracking. We can also track the installation progress. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to long press on this item and click on the properties. And I'm going to pause it one more time. Custom properties, again, are a really great way of getting engagement out on site. You can have a custom property for absolutely anything on your Revizto project. You can have it for a Boolean, yes or no, a date, just a generic text. Or you can link the custom properties to a search set and an appearance profile and actually start to go through and validate the install. So as you can see here, there is a custom property for the site progress. Is the concrete pour complete? Do we have a date? Is it poured to a satisfactory quality? So now you can go through doing a walk around, clicking yes, no, yes, no. And what will happen is it will actually color them up. So I've changed this to no. So what will happen is when I go back into this view and apply this search, this appearance profile, just one more time, scroll down to the structure tracking, you can see once this is applied that no, this actually hasn't been installed. One of the custom properties that I like to use for this is things like ductwork installation. I work with companies that are doing things like carbon tracking as well. If you were to apply a custom property to rooms, you can go through and look and say, do we have the correct finishes? Do we have sockets in the correct place? So you can actually use Revizto site as closing out and snagging lists. Going through the individual sheets now, I can go through the sheets that I've set up on the 2D desktop. And this way I can go through now and review all the issues that we have. Do we have any markups on the drawing that I need to go back and see? As you can see, access and maintenance, architectural issues, mechanical issues as well. Most of these coming in, and as you can see, we have a deadline that is incredibly out of date, so we can go back through now and find out why this has not been addressed. The issue tracker shows you all the issues that are on there. I'm just going to pause it here as well. All the issues will come through from the desktop. If you create an issue on the site app, it will push to the desktop. If you create an issue on the iPad, it will sync to the desktop and the site app. Everything is in sync. Everything is talking together at all times. Obviously, clash detection cannot be done on the site app, but you can actually view the clash results as long as they've been pushed to the issue tracker. So by filtering through your specific presets and custom filters, you can actually go into an area and see if this is now actually clash-free within the area. I can also go down and filter by whatever it is I want to see, by test, by assignee, by company, by stamp. All the filters are there for able to use. So I'm going to go to my access and maintenance. We still have that one access and maintenance open, and I'm now back in the office and I want to do a bit more information. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to apply a picture to this because I can use the camera on my phone to apply pictures. What will happen is I just need to change the view. There's me signing off. And there is the phone app. Now, what I wanted to do with this was to just demonstrate how easy it is to use Revizto Site App. I created a video for LinkedIn when the Site App first came out, and my son was just getting ready for bed. 4 minutes it took me to fly around, take some cut sections, look at viewpoints as well. There is so much more we can do with this, but what we want to do is we want people to engage with the Site App. We want you to just download it onto your phone, download your projects, look at the specific models and walk around. Maybe in the future, we could have another session where we go a bit more in depth and look at those custom properties and status tracking. So I'm just going to hand it back over to Levi now, and I hope that what you achieve from this is just a bit more clarity on what the Revizto Site App can do. And if you want any more information, please get in touch with myself or Levi, and we'll be happy to help.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, James. That was nice and easy and simple to follow. I love the navigation using the thumb. It's brilliant. And the 2D, 3D split screen. Absolutely fantastic. So really appreciate that, James. Obviously, as James mentioned, if you are Revizto users already and you haven't downloaded the app, then by all means, hopefully you can see my screen now. Download the apps via the QR codes that you can see here. Obviously, we've got Google Play and at the Apple Store. So either do that now or take a screenshot. This will be a recorded session as well, so you can always pick up later on. And same goes for myself and James. Give you another chance to capture our details using the QR codes here. So we're going to go into our Q&A session now. Thank you all for staying on and listening. We've got a couple of questions coming through. The first one is, I can see a little lag. Is that due to Zoom? Yes, any lag you would have seen on the video is just down to us hosting it via, Zoom in the webinar. The mobile phone is very, very quick to respond. It's very, very good. So one maybe for you, James. I've got a question here. Can you use QR codes to get to your desired location in the model? It's quite a good question.
Yes, there is a way of getting QR codes. Now, it's a manual process. What I can do is I am just going to see if I can find a video of mine put up. Let me just see if I can find it and I can put it in the chat. It does have to be, let me just find it. I think I have it. So basically, it's not anything which is generated within Revizto. You would have to create a QR code manually, place it in the model. You would then have to copy and paste the issue link to a free QR code generator. Create QR code is, I think, the one that's been mentioned. Copy the PDF issue, reprint it, print out the durable way of keeping it on site. So maybe a laminated piece of paper, stick it out on site. We are hoping for some automation with this in the future, but for now, it is a bit of a manual process. Just in terms of development and how Revizto works, and I just wanted to kind of say this to people as well on the call, is that we want to make sure that we get things right first time. So we didn't want the site app to be rolled out with like QR codes generators and they didn't quite work, and then people start to base their workflow around them. So this is something that is hopefully going to be coming in the future. I am going to try and find, I will try and find the link and maybe post it onto the webinar online. A colleague of mine, if you search for Lewis Guy, created a short video of how to do the QR codes as well. It is very easy. It maybe sounded a bit long-winded the way that I did it, but it does have to be a manual process. Once you've done it once on a project, it becomes second nature. But while Revizto kind of gets up to speed with the new kind of working processes, you'll tend to find that QR codes is something that will hopefully be coming a bit further on down the line. Brilliant.
Thank you, James. Hopefully that answers the question very well. We've got another question here about the structure tracker by color. Is it possible to change color on site, or can it just be viewed like that? I think is the question.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to give a quick view of that. So I'm using an Android build. It was a tiny bit laggy to begin with. So yes, absolutely. The color, if you have, so let's say, for example, I'm MEP biased. So I always use ductwork as an example. If you create those custom properties, and let's say, for example, you create a view for level 11, and you have that view for level 11 siloed with all that information on. You add that appearance profile with, let's say, for example, green, it means yes, it's installed, red means no. That will be replicated on the site app. So if you're looking through the site app and you're going through and you can see that the riser hasn't actually come up to a level 11, yet it's modeled, you can click on that riser, change the color scheme to yes or no, and it will change as per you do. So yes, everything is syncing, everything is talking. There may have just been a bit of lag that you saw in the video there, so it may have seemed that it may not work, but it 100% does. It may just have been to the lag. But yes, whatever you do in terms of the custom properties and appearance profiles works exactly the way it should do on the phone.
Thank you, James. Another question here. So can you handle projects as large as you can in the desktop application?
Yes, you can. Now, obviously, if you're working on, now this caches to your phone. So I have to say that off the top. So it's obviously dependent on your phone. So if you're using a Samsung Galaxy A something or other, that's not necessarily meant for high performance. I'm using a Samsung Galaxy S22. If you're using an iPhone 14 or the latest iPhone, I think it's 14 Max Pro, something like that, you're going to be able to handle a lot of information just because of how powerful the phone is. Now, I'm working on some projects that are 200 gigabytes. It would be absolute madness to try and download a 200 gigabyte project to your phone because it's just going to crash at the end of the day because you're not going to have that space on your phone. So that's why I strongly, strongly recommend the model presets. What is it you want to see? So before you open up the project, what areas is it you want to see? Are they broken down into levels or zones? Do you just want to review the MEP against the structures? So we can advise you how to use the phone app and how to use the preset information. But if you want to try and load everything and it doesn't work, it may be down to the limitations of your phone. So that's why I always say, when you're setting up a project, have those presets of information loaded up. If you're using NWCs and containers, maybe just load that one in for today. Because if you're not in a specific area of the project or it's yet to be built, there's no point in having it on your phone because it's just going to reduce your usage. Then you're going to get frustrated that you're not going to be able to navigate around and it's not working to the level that it should be.
Brilliant. Thanks, James. Next one, is the mobile app extra cost? So I'll take this one. So the mobile application is accessible to anyone who has access to Revizto. So if you have a Revizto license, you can log in exactly the same way you would with the desktop application, more than one device, and you can use your Revizto login to get access to the app. So another one here from an anonymous attendee. Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to know if there was a limit of storage with Revizto and how does it affect the speed on the mobile app? So it's quite similar to the question previously about project sizes. If you don't mind, James, I'll sort of jump in here.
Yes, absolutely. So again, just to clarify, the project is cached to your phone. So again, if you're trying to download a 100 gigabyte project, that's going to be 100 gigabytes on your phone. So again, think of the presets, think of the areas that you want to look at, think of the models that you want to load. That's the entire point of this phone app, really, is for you to kind of concentrate on the areas that you want to concentrate on. The viewpoints are also going to help with the performance as well. So if you, as a project manager, within Revizto, are creating these viewpoints, have those loaded, then you can actually focus on the areas that you want to.
Perfect. Thank you. I mean, bear in mind on our, we've got projects with entire cities within the project and terabytes of point cloud data. So actually handling data, Revizto is very, very, very good at doing that. And from my experience on a mobile phone app as well, it's far more data than I expected to work at all in the mobile phone app. It's absolutely brilliant. Next question here.
Sorry, Levi, just to jump in, I've put a link to the QR code video that a colleague of mine created in the webinar chat. Everybody should see it. You may have to connect with my colleague or you may be able to see it, but it's just a quick, it's not even more than a minute long video of how to use the QR codes. And Lewis is saying, get in contact if you want to see more. So my colleague Lewis has kind of taken that QR code aspect on board.
So the next question is, can we have AR in the app? So,
right. So as of now, no. Whether it's coming or not, I'm not really able to say. But obviously, if you, and it's the same on the iPad as well, you have your rooms available and your viewpoints available within the phone app. So there is that kind of manual navigation. So if you're within a specific plant room, for example, and you look to your top right and you can see the sprinkler and the services and the pipe work, you can use your gyroscope function to kind of navigate towards what you're looking at. Obviously, AR is a big thing which people are asking for a lot within the industry. And again, we want to make sure that the site app is as fully functional as it possibly can be before we say we're AR ready. So no, at the minute, I can't say to put a date on it, but, you know, keep a keen eye on any updates. And I'm sure something will be coming in the future to do with kind of augmented reality.
One of the many things Revizto are brilliant at is taking on customer feedback. So like James said, watch this space. And there is a manual version of AR currently available with the gyroscope, essentially.
Yes, absolutely.
So thanks. If I create an issue, how can I find it in Revit?
Okay.
It's probably alluding to pushback.
So, right. Okay. So issues within Revizto are Revizto issues. If, for example, you were on a desktop, you can actually switch back to Revit. So you can actually link issues from Revit. This is kind of going a bit off piste here. You can actually link issues to Revit as well. But if you say, for example, we're in a plant room and you put an issue in, let's say, for example, you have ductwork clashing with pipework, that you've raised that as an issue within Revizto. Within your issue and the screenshot of Revizto, you can right-click and switch back to Revit. So as long as you have the Revit model open, you have that Revit model linked to your Revizto project, Revizto will switch you back to Revit and take you to the exact point in time, create a boundary box as per the issue around that area within Revit. So you're not having to navigate all the way through your Revit model, go to the plant room, figure out where you're looking at. It will take you directly there. Now, obviously, you can't do that from the phone because the phone isn't linked to Revit. That would have to be a purely kind of desktop version of doing it. And obviously, if you look online within the Revizto help desk, there are videos which can show you how to do that as well.
Brilliant. So at the moment, this is our last question. Oh, we've got one more coming through, actually. So can you decipher this? Does it have limitations for users, to add users? Can we define limitations for them? So I think this question is basically asking, can we define editorial permissions for different users? So can one person edit and can one person just view? So can we lock down what different users have to the model?
Yeah, absolutely. So your user access is based on the settings. So if you want, so with on the desktop, you create an access level for somebody. So you can either have the out-of-the-box ones or you can have your bespoke ones. So if you have a subcontractor coming on board and you just want them to view the models, when they go into the phone app, they can just view the models. The same restrictions apply throughout the Revizto workflow. If you have someone coming on board and you can say, actually, you can create appearance profiles because we want you to look at the information that you're creating, color-coded things, sprinkler red, pipework blue, things like this, the same thing applies. So the permissions that you have to be set up on the desktop, then they go through. Now, again, there are different conversations to have with people's permissions on the licenses. Are you an admin, a guest, a collaborator, and you can set their permissions. But the permissions in the project allow you to have certain access to different levels. So again, it's out of the box or it's bespoke as per. And we can link something to the help desk, which can just kind of further explain this after the chat.
So can we do georeferencing my models in the same site without a topographical point? Can I manage to move my models to the right position on site? So I think what they're asking here is if they've got models that aren't geographically or geospatially accurate amongst one another, can they be moved within the application?
No, not on the phone app. No chance. No, that's no. There is no real model management within, apart from the presets that you load. So obviously on the desktop, you have an object tree which shows you all the models. They are the models that you're going to have within your site app. So you can't start playing around with the models and things like that. That's just going to be far too complicated. And the phone app will become 5-6 gigabytes. And then that's just going to become too much. So no, sadly, that information would have to be done in the desktop. So obviously you can do the scene transform. But ideally, it's a temporary fix. You want those models to be as good as they possibly can be within the Revizto app.
Brilliant. Thank you. So Reza again is asking about the connection to Revit. So I think that might, Reza, be one to take offline. I think you're inquiring about the functionality of the plugin for Revit.
Yeah.
Does it work with IFC in separated groups? Can you share a sample file? We can indeed share some data with you and go through a bit more of a deeper dive into the Revit plugin and how the integration between Revit and Revizto works. So we can pick that up offline, if that's all right with you. So that comes to the conclusion of our questions, unless there are any more. Thank you for your time once again. Like I said, if you've been shy and not asked your questions today, or you have anything that pops up into your head over the next couple of hours or days, by all means, feel free to reach out to us, and we will either book in a session with yourselves one-to-one or get back to you with the answer as quickly as possible. So I think that's it for us today. I'd like to thank you for your time once again. James feels the same, and hopefully we'll see you again soon for the next Revizto session. Take care, everyone.
Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Bye.